This is Coco. Coco was surrendered to us in January. We did actually have him here in the past. I think back in like 2020 he was here and he was adopted out. His owners just decided to bring him back.
And what are we doing?
We're going to take a biopsy, I believe, from this eye here, so we can get it tested to see if it's cancer.
I'm gonna run a CBC chemistry on him just to check out his metabolic, his blood count, just to see if we're missing something that way. Cause he's sweet, but he's just not as peppy as you would expect him to be. So, again, I wanted him to have time to gain weight what we were seeing was just because he was a little underweight. He's been here since January, so he's had time to stabilize. So the blood work now should give us, you know, if there's something else going on, will give us clues to where to dig deeper at. So that's where we're at on him. It's just trying to, again, your gut feeling is just like something is nagging you, that we're missing something. So we're trying to definitely get to the bottom of if Coco has more issues than we've been aware of before. So that's what we're after today. Give it back. Okay, that'll get you sleepy.
Where did his eye go?
I don't want to poke it, but it's
right in there.
so our biopsy samples where they're punch, and I just want to do little punch ones, is they're kind of right there. It is. They're dropping down, so we're kind of having to track them down. But good eyes by Corey. He saw it. We got it.
You gonna take any more than that?
Yeah, we're gonna take more than that. Yeah, we'll take more, but. Let me grab some gauze, and I may end up cutting a little sample out again on this one too. Anchor down. He may have had an injury at some point.
Ooh, what's that?
That's what I don't like. That's what we're trying to figure out. What is that behind there?
Is it fatty tissue?
It looks like fatty tissue, which means you. Well, I suppose you stick a needle in it.
So why are you sticking a needle in it?
Seeing if there's any pus or anything comes out. It's the vet equivalent of pimple popping. It's the vet equivalent. So with that,
Would you take a sample of that too?
hold on just a second before I do that. We are going to, just for completeness.
Hi.
There we go. He's always been a mystery to me. I've really never had a good answer. So we're gonna let the histopathologist tell us what that tissue is. You know, is it normal eye tissue? Is it abnormal? Is, you know, what's going on with it? And yeah, that's why we have people that study histopathology for that reason. I don't like looking through a microscope all day, so I'm going to let them tell us. Come in at a nice angle. So here is his other incisor here, so it did not come through completely either. Now, whether that came like that because he got an injury, it grew in crooked, your guess is as good as mine on that. I wonder, with him asleep, can we put the plate, I wonder if you could hold the plate like right there and I just shoot down from above?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, let's try that. Why don't we have him asleep? Let's get some more on how that tooth root is, so if I do take it out, I know exactly how it lays. what to expect. So let's do that while we can.
Just hang out with him while you're
Yeah,
doing
hang
it.
on a bit. I really have never had a good answer of what's wrong with his eye. So we took some samples, nothing still looks normal. Did pull blood work for CBC chemistry to look for metabolically if there's something right. Because when I look at him, something in the back of my mind just nags me of something's hiding, something's not right with him. So we're trying to dig deeper on that. If we don't find anything metabolically that's an issue on the blood work, the biopsies come back fine, then we'll schedule him for a enucleation and just remove all of that extra tissue. And if there, at one time you could see, possibly look like the globe in the back. I didn't try to keep poking today with it. So if everything else comes back, we will go in and enucleate and remove all that, and remove that as being a factor of causing him more discomfort than it appears to be, things like that. So busy day, productive. 5 o'clock, I'm gonna clean his sheath while he's asleep, just some routine gelding maintenance, and then do paperwork for the rest of the day probably. So